I think what he's got from his dad is this kind of like notion of what the game's supposed to look like,
Yeah.
but he doesn't understand how to play when it doesn't look like that. And sometimes you just have to kind of go, stir some shit up and get after it. And I think he's almost just has this passive mindset of like, I bet you if you sat down and talked to him because of being around his dad and watching the game, he could probably like break down like film and talk like adjustments and how to play different actions, like probably as good as anybody in the rookie class conversationally.
Mm-hmm.
But can he do that and play it in an impactful way?
So the Lakers signed him to a 4-year, basically an $8 million deal, 2 years. Basically 2 years are guaranteed. Third year is a player option.
Player option.
Yeah, yeah. Or maybe a team option. I'm sorry, one of those, player or team. Don't want to get hung up on that.
Yeah.
But basically, it aligns with LeBron. After LeBron's 2 years, ultimately, I find that interesting because what if LeBron retires and they just cut Bronny? I find that interesting.
They will. No, I mean,
But-
it makes perfect sense to do it this way. LeBron, a surprise, we draft your son and now you're going to extend for 2 years. So then we sign your son for 2 years with. I'm assuming it's going to be a team option. There's no reason to give a late second round pick a player option. That doesn't make sense. So it's probably a team option. And if in 2 years LeBron steps away from basketball as an active player, and Bronny has not progressed to the point where he's a valuable NBA commodity, and I'm not saying he's got to be an all-star to be that, but he hasn't carved a niche in the league, you don't want to be contractually bound by this any further.
Yeah, for sure not.
That makes no sense at all.
Yeah, and they're saying that there's been a lot of talk and chatter whether he's going to end up on on the bench in the rotation or for most of the season, or we end up in the G League for most of the season. And the team today said they're pretty sure like he's going to spend at least a part of the season for sure in the G League. There a lot remains to be seen. I'm going to be glued in. I am one that's going to be glued in the summer league. I usually watch a lot of summer league anyhow.
Yeah.
But definitely, his games are going to be must see just to see how he fits in with his peers.
For that, and I hope, because to me there's a disturbing trend that that higher profile guys literally play a game or two
Mm-hmm.
and shut it down.
Yeah.
Now I know he's high profile, but he still has a lot to prove and to establish. I hope he plays regular minutes for all available games.
Of every single game.
Yeah, and the only time I saw Summer League, well, the second time I saw Summer League live, was I was in Vegas with Juan, and we went to see the Lakers, and it was the Laker team that had Lonzo Ball and Kyle Kuzma.
Oh, wow.
And those guys, they played the whole Summer League. They went all the way to the final, and I believe they won the Summer League that summer, and they came in as rookies. I loved what they did there.
Yeah.
They let those guys just play, learn, get as much as they could out of this experience as they could. And I think that's, absolutely what Bronny needs. And I hope that they, again, those Summer League teams can be quite funky. I hope they put together like a solid team that's going to play and not a lot of like guys that are going to play 2 games and shut down or play 3 games and shut down. Like, I hope they kind of go for it in the summer and, put a group out there that's going to compete and let people grow.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. That might have been me. Yeah, for sure though. I think they will because they only you have the first round pick, the guy from Tennessee.
Yeah.
But I think he's going to play throughout the whole summer. Now, tell me what you think about this because for Bronny, the ceiling for his play is a two-way player, right? A 3-and-D player,
Okay.
right? A 3D guard. That's his prototype. I think 3-and-D wings and guards, it takes them the longest to ramp up and have a successful NBA career. Now, for example, the easiest transition and what has been proven in the NBA are scoring guards and rim running bigs. So if you're coming out of whatever it is, college, G League, overseas, if you're a scoring guard, it is easier for you to get into the rotation and start right away, rookie, sophomore, junior year, and sort of be and have a contribution to your team and rim running bigs. Of course, we just saw that with Dallas. He's a rookie. Those guys, right? You see that all the time. But these 3-and-D people, when you think about the best 3-and-D, whether it's Patrick Beverly, Drew Holiday, all of these guys, they had a longer ramp up to their careers than those rim running bigs and scoring guards. So my point to all of that is saying we may be 2 to 3 to 4 years away from even seeing a Bronny James that can contribute on an NBA level in anyway. And
if we ever do.
if we ever do.
I don't disagree with that. I've always kind of felt though that like the majority of players coming through the process to get to the NBA, typically, you are known as like a scorer. You are known as a guy that your team kind of revolves around. And what I feel with the 3-and-D role is that it's almost like a default role that you figure out when you get to the league and you realize, okay, I'm not going to make it in the league as a primary or secondary offensive option or, offensive guy. If I'm going to stay in this league, I've got to refine my game to a role. It's 3-and-D now, but that complements our stars on the team.
And you know who's perfect for that? You know what, like
Who?
what you exactly describing? Austin Rivers.
Yeah, no, but I
That's
think
him in a
it's,
nutshell.
I
No,
think
no,
it's a massive amount of guys.
No, it's a
Yeah.
ton of guys.
Yeah.
But that's exactly what happened to Austin.
Yeah, for sure.
Came in. We thought he could be a first, second, or third primary scoring option on the team. Didn't work out that way.
Yeah.
That wasn't. And then he realized, and it was kind of late, in his career, but he realized, okay, a 3-and-D guy is what's going to keep me in the league and keep me on the floor.
Yeah.
And he did what people can say what they want, but he had some productive playoff games as a 3-and-D guard. You know what I mean?
I agree.
Um,
But I
yeah.
think it's a role that you kind of like essentially
fall
evolve
into.
to
Yeah.
and accept. When you realize I can't be this other type of player.
Yeah.
And the way good teams are structured is, you kind of have typically two guys that have license to kind of do whatever they want to do.
For better or worse.
For better or worse.
Yeah.
And then, maybe there's a guy off the bench who's like, who has a green light to shoot it or play make or some way. And then after that, it's all about finding a role to play off of, whoever your two main guys are and whatever positions they happen to play. And the quicker you figure that out as an NBA guy, the longer and smoother your kind of career path is going to be.
Yeah. So, what is your realistic output for Bronny? Both of you guys. What do you think for this season?
His ass ain't playing.
Like,
I mean, with what you just said, like you're supposed to fit into that role. That you come to that conclusion. They're already talking him into this role,
right.
and it seems like it's all forced. I've never seen a clip of him being an elite defender. I've never seen a clip of him being an elite 3-point shooter. I mean, he showed nothing in college, so like, I think he's gonna share the floor for the whatever the record or
Ceremonial
the
purposes.
history. Yeah, fall into the G League and that's it. He's 6. Isn't he like 6 foot?
6'1.5".
Yeah, I mean, if he's not Drew Holiday, Pat Bev athleticism at all.
Yeah.
I think it's just a dream.
That's always been the toughest thing to me, to even draw those comparisons. Smaller guards. Well, he's smaller than a small guard, so it's like
Yeah.
Right.
with less athleticism.
Yeah.
Not to say it still can't happen, because they say he has been a strong shoot. Well, he has been a good shooter in the
They said in the drill.
in the drill. But come on,
That's
man.
crazy.
I mean,
That's crazy. It's like the way they're talking about it is so crazy.
I'm gonna tell you one other, because I brought this up like 1,000 times. Is we drafted a guy, Zaire Smith, over Mikal Bridges, and
Oh yeah.
all because Zaire Smith had a phenomenal draft workout
Yeah, I remember
the
this
owner.
one, Yeah.
for the owner.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
But the biggest problem that I've seen with Bronny playing in USC is passivity. He just does not impact a game, and he plays and moves around the court in a way that you get the impression he almost doesn't want to, and that's distressing.
You know what's crazy though? That's kind of like how Braun was playing like after those Heat Cleveland years, like super passive, not really in that foot, and that's kind of the game that Bronny got out of his dad, and not that early Braun.
No, but I agree with what you're saying, and I've said this before. I think I've said it to you, Bubba. Is that I think what he's got from his dad is this kind of like notion of what the game's supposed to look like,
Yeah.
but he doesn't understand how to play when it doesn't look like that. And sometimes you just have to kind of go, stir some shit up and get after it. And I think he's almost just has this passive mindset of like, I bet you if you sat down and talked to him because of being around his dad and watching the game, he could probably like break down like film and talk like adjustments and how to play different actions, like probably as good as anybody in the rookie class conversationally.
Mm-hmm.
But can he do that and play it an impactful way?
You think that's Braun's fault though? I feel like that's like when if let's say Braun is talking to Bronny after a game and telling him what he did good, what he did bad.
Yeah.
You think Braun is really just kind of saying, let's take this real like composed, wait till everything's perfect kind of game?
No, I
or
don't
he's telling
think.
him, well, if I feel like Braun, if he sees his games, would have said be aggressive
Yeah, no, I
at
agree
some
with
point,
you.
and he doesn't say, and it doesn't look like he said that at all.
It doesn't
It
look
looks like the
he
kind of
said,
feedback
yeah.
he's telling Bronny. He's like, okay, Bronny, let the game come to you. Just make the right play, make the right pass, because he's still playing like that for the last 5 years.
Yeah, yeah.
So I mean,
But
that's what it looks like.
I think the messaging could be different. I think he could, his dad could tell him to be more aggressive, but he could watch his dad play and absorb that. And his dad's playing in this kind of
I feel like
passive way.
I feel like at some point, I mean, I would just like to see there has to be evidence that like Braun said, okay, this game, just get the fuck after, take this to the rim, show them that you're the guy. I've never seen a Bronny game on YouTube in his whole career where it said Bronny goes off for 40 points, takes over
I
this
agree.
game.
I agree with you.
And
But
knowing Braun as a player, who he was and who he is,
yeah.
if he said that, I think at least once it should have happened. Otherwise, Braun, and I think you have to question Braun's judgment as like a coach, like the way he's kind of running the teams that he's been on
Oh, I agree
later in
with
his career. I don't think he's always saying the best message,
No, I agree with that. I agree with that.
That just looking at his play style, I think I would see a change if someone was telling him, hey, Bronny, you need to show something.
Yeah. Who knows? Hopefully he'll
But-
show us something in the summer league.
But you
Yeah.
haven't always been the most aggressive guy.
I'm not, but that's just
But
the way I see the
I've
game.
always wanted you to be more aggressive.
but I see football differently than you.
Again, that's the same thing could happen here.
Yeah, but
That's my point.
that's LeBron James. If you show me your career, I'll listen, buddy.
Below the belt.
That's LeBron over there. Hey,
Doesn't mean I'm wrong.
if you tell me something
Doesn't
about
mean I'm wrong.
if you tell me something about being a lawyer or a case, I'll listen
Fuck
straight
that.
there.
You know that's not
We're
where
talking
it's
about
at.
LeBron James.
LeBron James. All right, let's move it along here.